Hello everyone and welcome to Moonride. If you're like me, you're pretty much wondering what's going to happen next with Manafort. What's the meaning of all of this, as Lena Rodriguez would say, argy-bargy back and forth, right? So let's take a look at Paul Manafort and Mueller and just see what's next in this negotiation. I first of all get Paul Manafort thinks he's tricky. He really does think that he's smarter than Mueller. That was the mistake, is that he really did. These people are so arrogant, they actually think that they are, smarter than people who they are not smarter than. You know, any rational person would have looked at Mueller and known this guy is way ahead of the game. But not Manafort. Manafort is scared of a lot of people. And one reason that he did do this, it's not all him thinking he's smarter. It is a desperate act. He is very much afraid of Putin and what Putin will do. We've seen that with impunity, people can come and murder those in America, and foreign countries can murder them, and Trump will not do anything to stop them. There's no reason why he would stop the murder of Manafort, especially since it's in Trump's interests to do so. And that's what he's really afraid of. It's not just this sort of arrogance, it's also him. He just punted. He's just like, well, what are my choices here? Telling the truth isn't really going to ensure my survival. If I'm out of prison, I'm a target. And he's right. He's not wrong about this. Putin would kill him if he could. The only reason that he's safe is because he's in a jail. He might be safer in a jail. It might be his plan to stay in jail so he can survive. And I keep getting Putin's image here. Um, Putin's already tried to kill him. He hasn't done it, but he's got pretty close. And he could still do it. It's not impossible for him to do. It's just a question of time and waiting, and he might well rather wait than do it now because it has such international implications. Putin's just playing this to see, how will it be best for him? When can I do this? How will it boost my own reelection in Russia? Okay. Yeah, Manafort really is just stuck. He doesn't have that many options. What about Mueller? Yeah, Mueller is doing this for a very calculated reason. Do not suppose that this is some kind of failure on Mueller's part. Mueller is using all of the stuff that he has available to him. I mean, now Mueller's putting Manafort out there, and we'll see what Trump does, right? So if Trump tries to give him a pardon, then what will the political entities do in that regard? He can kind of test drive all of this stuff, and it's up to Trump to react. It's up to Trump to show his colors. It's up to the Senate to do what they need to do with this sort of, a few steps down the ladder. There's no real negative for Mueller. It couldn't have worked out better, actually, because now he doesn't have to go directly after the president. He can go to people around him and get as much juice out of this as possible. He doesn't have to go for a Supreme Court fight. It's certain that Manafort's going to prison anyway because he did state crimes as well as federal crimes. This is a great example that Mueller is setting. This could have been perfectly planned. Like, it could not have happened better. Mueller was just there saying, okay, which card do I play now? He's got all the cards, the whole deck. He's no fool. So can you tell me what else is Mueller thinking. I mean, really, he is going after Trump. Mueller knows already that Trump did it, and everything that he has done, he has set up to ultimately nail Donald Trump. There's no question in Mueller's mind that Trump did it. It's just a question of making sure that information gets out. Grand juries, it doesn't necessarily matter what Whitaker does. He can set this up in a series of grand juries. The grand juries can release their information, or that information will become available at some point. Whitaker, the other people at the other departments, they can't really stop that. Also, there is a delay going on. He's going to delay some things and keep back some of the most maybe powerful and incriminating, indictments to give everybody time to figure out what Whitaker's going to do, and also, limit Whitaker's time. He doesn't have an endless period of time. I think it's 90 days or 120. Do we have any idea who's next? Spirit? I do see Ivanka Trump next. Is Ivanka Trump going to be? Is it going to be a Congress that goes after her, or Mueller? I think it's both. I think there's some combination of Mueller and Congress that will focus on her next. At least that he might be doing it Mueller might be doing it in a sort of more subtle way, like he used the Southern District of New York. It will be a bit more indirect, if you will, harder for Trump to manipulate that. In that sense, he's going for Trump directly by being indirect. He's going very much for the jugular of Trump, going directly to the step that will really make him totally unhinged and command him to do extraordinary things that people might not accept. And but it's still totally hands-on. I mean, hands-off. I mean, Mueller can just go, well, I'm not doing it. While Congress does it, while he gives the information to Congress, while this goes on. But I do see that she's next. Is there some reason why she's next? Again, this is very good because he can remove it from himself. It can be they're doing that and I'm not doing it. And it really is going to make Trump go nuts. And that's when Trump will really start making big mistakes. He will become so unglued that even the Republicans in the Senate will have difficulty backing him. It is in the Republicans' interest to get the truth out, and now they're no longer really being served by Trump. He still has some serious supporters, but the more subtly they can get rid of him, the better for the Republican Party. And people like Mitch McConnell, they've read the writing on the wall. They know where this is going, and they're ready to again, act like they're just following some rules, but really secretly they're sort of, on the same team going after Donald. And I do see Mitch McConnell as being very annoyed. He's really annoyed that she would do something so stupid. How stupid does that make the Republican Party look? That they just went after Hillary Clinton, and here's Trump's daughter doing the same things. Do not underestimate Mueller. That's the message that I'm getting. There is no way that you could even grasp what Mueller has at his fingertips. It is beyond anybody's wildest dreams how much information that he's got on all of these people. He knows what connects with what. It is to his advantage to wait as people expose themselves, as people come to him and say, hey, I want to make a deal. A couple people have already, and that's why he has this information. Isn't he Manafort? Isn't he any one of these people? He has got all the information he needs. It's just a question of setting people up so that they can trip over themselves and say too much and, make actions contrary to our laws. This is almost a perfect setup, just welcoming people to break the law, welcoming people to expose who they really are and show what they're afraid of. Yeah, if you want to know what Trump's doing, or sorry, if you want to know what Mueller's doing, just look at who's the most afraid of him at whatever particular moment, and then you'll have some idea of what's happening. Those political insiders, they know when they're getting closed in on. Yeah, Ivanka Trump is not looking at a good day. It will happen fairly soon, I think. I'm getting within a month something major will happen with her. All right. Is there anything else that we can know about Mueller's investigation or Manafort? I do see that Manafort is very, very worried. He doesn't have the wad of cash that usually protects him, and he is terrified of what that means. He's never been in that situation before where he just doesn't have any means of money to create a shield for himself. He is an extremely dangerous situation on a host of levels. And the longer he fools around within the legal system, the safer he is, right? So there is a reason why he would make a false confession. If it dragged him back in there for a couple of months, that would be good for him. There's a reason why he did all of these things. Manafort is no dum-dum. He's arrogant, but he's smart enough to know some of what's going on. He did try to trick Mueller, but that was just his best shot. It wasn't entirely because he's so naive. Trust Mueller. Just trust Mueller. He's got it all. He's got it all worked out. He keeps pointing to his brain, and he's just like, I don't need to advertise what I've got. There's no way you can touch it. So, Spirit, is Trump going to get anywhere repressing Mueller? Hmm. Hmm. So you know the scene where in Wizard of Oz where the witch tries to get the shoes and her hands just go like they kind of get electric. That's sort of how Trump is. I'm seeing Trump. He's just trying to affect things, and it's like electricity is going through his hands, but it's being reversed. He's trying to exert the influence. The influence is being exerted back upon him. He's not getting very far. Whitaker isn't looking very popular or powerful. It just seems that Whitaker's face is down. It's sort of like, when you catch somebody lying and they don't look you in the eye, they look down, or you've caught somebody stealing. They got his number. They figured his number. They already know how to annul him and get rid of him. It's just a question of waiting him out. In a sense, Trump has really shown who he is by appointing Whitaker, who is clearly there to undermine the investigation. All right, thanks for watching.